So Cognition Labs just drops this. Devin, the first AI software engineer.
Hey, I'm Scott from Cognition AI, and today I'm really excited to introduce you to Devin, the first AI software engineer. Let me show you an example of Devin in action. I'm going to ask Devin to benchmark the performance of Llama on a couple different API providers. From now on, Devin is in the driver's seat. First, Devin makes a step-by-step plan of how to tackle the problem. After that, it builds the whole project using all the same tools that a human software engineer would use. Devin has its own command line, its own code editor, and even its own browser. In this case, Devin decides to use the browser to pull up API documentation so that it can read up and learn how to plug into each of these APIs. Here, Devin runs into an unexpected error. Devin actually decides to add a debugging print statement. Reruns the code with the debugging print statement, and then uses the error in the logs to figure out how to fix the bug. Finally, Devin decides to build and deploy a website with full styling as the visualization. You can see the website here. All of this is possible today because of the advancements that we've made in both reasoning and long-term planning. It's a really hard problem, and we've only just started, but we're super excited about the progress that we've made so far. In the meantime, if you'd like to try out Devin on your own real-world tasks, send us a request below, and we'd be happy to forward it to Devin.
About 6 months ago, I made this video about autonomous AI agents. Now, this was before that terminology was quite as used. We're hearing it more now. Back then, it wasn't quite as common. So this was 6 months ago, August 27th, 2023. I'll play a clip from this towards the end of the video. But the question I was asking in that video was, how far away are we from a situation where basically an autonomous AI agent would be able to kind of run a software business on your behalf, satisfy customers' orders, create little scripts for them, send those out, etc. And, that video was very well received. A few people thought that's never going to happen. That's a million years away. And some people gave their kind of timelines for that. But I think overall, a lot of people said how blown away they were by this concept of having an autonomous worker that's able to generate money for you. Kind of a big concept to think about on many different levels, not just for yourself, but how would having access to something like that change the world? It's been about 6 months. That was 6 months ago. Keep that in mind. People were super interested. Some small percentage was calling BS. That was 6 months ago. And this is today. Today we're announced to excite, I can't even read right now.
Okay, Wes, calm down and try that again.
Today we're excited to announce Devin, the first AI software engineer. So Devin has successfully passed practical engineering interviews from leading AI companies and has even completed real jobs on Upwork. So it does the job interview, it completes the jobs. Devin is an autonomous agent that solves engineering tasks through the use of its own shell, code editor, and web browser. So let me do this. So this thing isn't out yet for everyone. I am spamming the crap out of anyone that can get me access. So I'm really hoping to have access to this thing ASAP. Big props to David Andre for breaking the story. That's where I saw it first. The title said, World's First AGI Agent. Yes, this is real. I was like, no, it's not. And I clicked it anyways. And yeah, it kind of seems like it just might be. Let me know in the comments what you want to see this thing do and watch these videos that showcase its abilities.
Hey, I'm Walden, one of the developers here at Cognition AI. We were playing around with whether or not Devin could start a side hustle on Upwork. So here's actual real job from Upwork, where the client wants to set up this computer vision model, which actually looks quite interesting. It seems very difficult to set up. I'm not sure how I would start doing this, but you give the task to Devin and ask Devin to figure it out, and things just kick off. Devin immediately goes ahead, and you can see it sort of starts setting up the repo. It actually runs into some issues here with the versioning. So if you watch how Devin deals with it, Devin's actually updating the code to make these things work. He continues with this, loading and importing packages. You can see that actually downloads images from the internet to run through the model. But you can see here that there are actually some issues that come across. However, Devin knows how to handle these things. Devin kind of pushes through, and if you look closely, Devin's actually doing print line debugging here, where Devin is adding these statements to track where the data flows. And Devin continues to do this until Devin understands how everything's working and actually then updates the code with the fixes after removing print line statements. Devin continues this pattern of fixing code and running it again until it runs the image model across all of these roads across the world. And we can ask for a report from Devin. At which point, Devin sends over some sample images of roads with damage marked out and a nice TXT file explaining Devin's work and the different kinds of outputs of the model. Good job, Devin.
Hi, I'm Adyan, and today I felt like playing the game of life, so I asked Devin to implement it for me. Devin started by creating a new React application using the shell, and then it started writing some code through its editor. After that, it deployed the app through Netlify. Let's check it out. That seems nice, but there's a lot more features which I want to add. So let's ask Devin to do this one at a time. I want the words Devin to be written at the initialization screen instead of it being random. Then I want the word to be slightly bigger and the frame rate to be faster. I also want him to fix a bug where the screen gets freezed after 3 seconds. Let's see the progress Devin has made so far. We can see the diff, and the last diff shows that Devin just fixed the bug where the screen gets frozen after 3 seconds. This seems reasonable to me, so let's move on. Next, I want Devin to increase the frame rate after 10 seconds and also to make the website responsive to different window sizes. I also wanted to make it interactive so that when I click my mouse somewhere, it should spawn a new block. Let's check out what Devin has made so far. It started with Devin, which is what we asked for, and when I click something, it creates a new block as well. That's fun. Let's play around with it. Well, that goes my evening.
Hey guys, today I'm going to show you an AI training an AI. So here we're going to take the QLoRa repo, which is a fine-tuning method for quantizing large language models. We're going to feed this repo to our agent, Devin, and all we have to ask Devin is to fine-tune a 7B llama model. Devin clones the repo, figures out how to run it using the README, sets up all of the requirements using pip, looks through all the scripts, and is able to start running the training job. There are a few hiccups where Devin runs into some CUDA issues, which is to be expected with open source repos, but it's not a problem. Devin looks at the NVIDIA environment and figures out how to reinstall the packages to make it work. After a few more runs, figure out the correct model names, Devin successfully gets the training run working. Here we see training proceeding smoothly, loss is going down, and after a few steps, looks pretty good. I tell Devin to wait as the training job runs. After about an hour, I come back, ask Devin, hey, how's the training going? Devin helps me look. A few hundred steps are done now, and everything is still proceeding smoothly. Looks great. Thanks, Devin, for helping me set up my training run.
Hey, I'm Tony, an engineer at Cognition. I helped build Devin and now Devin helps me too. Today at work, I wanted to run a bunch of commands at once and be able to track their status on one screen. I found an open source tool named mprox to do this. Here it is right here. Looks like it all finished, but the status is way too vague. I don't know which ones failed, they all just say down. I really want to improve the UX here, but I'm not familiar with the code at all, so I had Devin, my AI software engineer, help me. Looks like this person right here had the same issue. So all I gave Devin was the link to the issue and asked Devin to fix it. You can see me make the request right here on the left. Let's see what Devin did. On the right, we can track Devin's work and watch Devin jump from tool to tool. First, Devin clones the repository using the shell, then reads the README in an editor to learn how to set up the code, then goes back to the shell to install the required dependencies. Devin also opens up a web browser to take a look at the issue. Now, Devin starts coding. At some point, Devin even opens up some Rust documentation to debug a compiler error. Finally, Devin finishes the task and reports a summary of the changes that were made. Let's see if the changes worked. I have Devin's code right here. Looks like it worked. The third command succeeded. I can even see the status codes. Here's all the code that Devin wrote for this change. Thanks, Devin.
Hey, I'm Neil, and I wanted to show you an example of Devin, our AI software engineer, helping me fix a bug. So I've been using this repo called SymPy. SymPy is an algebra system written in Python. And I noticed this issue where when you take the log of a fraction, you get zoo, which is a type of infinity. So that's definitely wrong, but instead of trying to figure this out myself, I just asked Devin to take a look. Devin immediately jumps in, sets up the repo, and is able to reproduce that same zoo output. Devin then figures out the right part of the code and adds print statements in order to figure out what the cause of this issue is. And we can see here that the cause is that integer division leads to a 0, and then we take the log of 0. So based on that, Devin's able to fix the issue in the code by replacing that integer division with true division, and then cleans up the debug output and verifies that the result is what we want. And then Devin even runs the test in the repo as well to make sure nothing else is broken. So that was great. Saved me a ton of time. So thank you, Devin.
Hey, I'm Andrew, an engineer at Cognition, and I wanted to share a pretty amazing experience I had with Devin. So I maintain this big open source repository, which contains a lot of different algorithms used for competitive programming. A lot of people use it, and a few weeks ago, my friend texted me that there was actually a bug in one of the implementations. The implementation wasn't quite right when the inputs weren't relatively prime. I kind of glossed over that case when I was implementing it, so I never really thought about it. So I implemented a quick fix, and then I thought that I should test it, but I actually never really got around to writing any test cases. So I thought, if I don't want to do it, I should just ask Devin to do it instead. So I gave Devin the repository, asked Devin to just check it out and start working on it. So Devin, found the right repository, checked it out, found all files that are in the repository, and then I told Devin what test case I wanted him to write. I just told Devin, these are the inputs, and then try checking for these conditions for me. So Devin wrote the test without too much trouble. Devin just looked around to understand what exactly the test should look like and what exactly the interfaces were. And with this, Devin ran the tests, ran into a quick hiccup, which was a compiler, but Devin is able to solve those very effectively and just added an extra include to fix that. And then was done running this initial test. So then I asked Devin to actually expand the test a little bit. Instead of just testing this one input, I wanted Devin to test it on all inputs. So kind of the brute force testing strategy. I use this a lot in my tests, and I just wanted Devin to implement it so that I didn't have to worry about it. So Devin went and rewrote the test function to use 4 nested for loops. But this time, after Devin ran the tests, Devin actually found a test failure. And now, if the code were correct, there could be compiler errors in the test, but the tests seemed really pretty reasonable, so there probably shouldn't be a failure. So Devin went and tried to debug the program for me. So Devin here actually added a print statement to debug the outputs and the inputs to the failing test, reran the tests, and actually found which case was wrong. In this case, these are the inputs, and then the return value was actually -9. And the code I'm running actually should never really return negative values. So Devin realized this and actually went looking in the code that we're trying to test, and actually added this line of code that if extra less than 0, extra plus equals plus equals something, and in order to make sure that the return value was actually non-negative. So after fixing this, Devin actually reran the tests, and now I can be confident that my code is correct and I have some tests to prove it. Thanks, Devin.
Hey everyone, my name is Sarah, and I'm going to show you how Devin, our AI software engineer, can autonomously learn from a blog post. Within a few minutes, Devin successfully generated this desktop background image for me with my name on it. So all I had to do was send this blog post in a message to Devin. From there, Devin actually does all the work for me, starting with reading this blog post and figuring out how to run the code. In a couple minutes, Devin's actually made a lot of progress. And if we jump to the middle here, you can see that Devin's been able to find and fix some edge cases and bugs that the blog post did not cover for me. And if we jump to the end, we can see that Devin sends me the final result, which I love. I also got 2 bonus images here and here. So let me know if you guys see anything hidden in these.
So this is Cognition Labs website. So they've raised a 21 million Series A led by Founders Fund. Meet Devin, the world's first fully autonomous AI software engineer. Devin is a tireless, skilled teammate, equally ready to build alongside you or independently complete tasks for you to review. With Devin, engineers can focus on more interesting problems, and engineering teams can strive for more ambitious goals. With our advances in long-term reasoning and planning, Devin can plan and execute complex engineering tasks requiring thousands of decisions. Devin can recall relevant context at every step, learn over time, and fix mistakes. We've also equipped Devin with common developer tools, including the shell, code editor, and browser within a sandboxed compute environment, everything a human would need to do their work. What I find really interesting about this stuff is generally when you're building tools aimed at developers, generally speaking, you're going to have less restrictions versus something that's aimed at sort of everybody. So from what we've seen so far, because this seems much more powerful than anything else that's available right now to the general public. Being able to learn unfamiliar technology, so like giving it a blog post and then it knows how to do stuff. That was the promise. That's kind of what we expected these things to be able to do. We've seen some of that, like that in context learning by large language models. We've seen it, but this seems next level, certainly. Build and deploy apps end to end. Now on this channel, we've shown, for example, chat dev and AutoGen and stuff like that. So this isn't new, but just everything about this seems smoother, faster, more intuitive, and more, what is even the word for this, more agentic. Like it just seems smarter and more competent. You tell it what to do and it goes and does that. So the SWE bench is a benchmark for, can language models resolve real world GitHub issues? And so here's kind of the results that they have right here with Claude 2, GPT-4, etc., assisted and unassisted. So it looks like, Claude 2, 4.8 unassisted, GPT-4, 1.74% unassisted. And so Devin just completely knocks it out of the park. So that's 13.86. Let me see if I can zoom in. So 13 let's say just call it 14%. So what is that? 7x better than GPT-4. Looks like Claude 3 hasn't been tested yet, isn't on the benchmark quite yet. So I am tirelessly trying to wrestle up the beta access to this thing and see it kind of in effect for real. But let me play you that clip that I was talking about from this channel that you can see here on this channel 6 months ago. Back then I was asking, How long until we have something like this? Is it a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20? And I don't know if this thing will exactly hit all those criteria. It might, but the rate of progress here is quite astonishing. From 6 months ago to today, we can't even make babies that fast. Imagine this if you can. You wake up in the morning, you have your coffee or whatever other stimulants gets you going. You turn on your computer and pops up your very own autonomous AI agent. You named him Goal Getter, or GG for short. That was very clever of you. GG reports to you what it's been doing while you were sleeping, and it's been very busy. You see, you created GG to run a business for you. The business idea is simple. Millions of people in the world are looking for simple, inexpensive, custom automation solutions. Some want a little script that helps them automate their home. Some want a morning routine automation where the alarm rings, their curtains open, the coffee maker turns on, etc. Some want their emails answered and sorted in very specific ways. Some want a thing that feeds their cat automatically. Other people want solutions for their business that are a little bit more advanced, requires cameras and tracking, etc. But the point is that people are lazy, people are busy, and you have developed quite a reputation for delivering smart and inexpensive custom automation solutions. One-of-a-kind automation solutions. People go on your website, they type in what they want done. They don't even have to know exactly what they want. They just type in something like, "My stupid cat keeps running away." Now, you respond within a minute or two with an exact plan of how to fix that problem, and multiple choices with different price options, depending on how fancy they want to get. Starting from a simple tracker for your cat to an army of drones following it around everywhere it goes. They choose whatever option they want, and they provide a credit card for you to bill once the automation is done. You type a script doing the thing that they want. Maybe you have to order some parts like trackers or video cameras and have it shipped to their house. And then you record a quick voiceover with visuals on how to set it all up. You're kind of like the IKEA of automations. The instructions are great. They're brain dead simple. You made sure the documentation can be understood by anyone regardless of their tech background. If they can use a smartphone, they can set up the thing that you've made for them. If they run into any issues, you provide unlimited support through text, emails, or whatever they want. Once you send everything over to them, all the instructions, all the details, etc., you charge their credit card and you're done. But here's the key. You didn't do any of that. You were sleeping the whole time, remember? Everything was done by GG. It talked to the customers and figured out what they wanted. It brainstormed some solutions, told them where to put their credit card information, etc. Then it went to work building the needed software, ordering the parts that were needed, and writing out very clear instructions for how to use the thing that it just built. It shipped the product, either digitally or the physical components that are needed. It handled the customer service. It made sure that everybody was happy, etc. Recently, you've been teaching it how to do marketing campaigns, and you're seeing some great results with that. It learned to hook people in with little free automations. Then it goes online to find whatever information about them that it can, and then it starts pitching them ideas that it thinks they will respond to. It produces content showing how their lives could be improved by these various solutions. Custom-made, tailor-made to them. Now, your customers are ecstatic, and you are basically printing money. You don't do any work to run the business. Zero. The only work you do is on improving the agent, the autonomous AI agent that is running this whole thing. You work on optimizing it, on teaching it new skills. Now, you are aware that eventually people will catch on and these agents will be more commonplace and more available to everyone. But until then, you basically found an unlimited money glitch. GG. So my question for you is, when will this scenario likely play out? Never? Is it just science fiction? Is it possible 10 years in the future, 50? What do you think? What number of years will pass before a handful of people have something like this running?